Okay, so here we are with the Hebrew slides, English ones to follow. Uh, so I guess there are 4 parts of every project: the schedule, the budget, the quality, and the scope. Okay. Let me go forward. So we're going to talk. So here's work: planning, tracking, control, and reporting. Okay. WBS. That's what we were doing. Work breakdown structure. That was what that thing was. We have tasks. We have task is an amount, a unit of work. I don't know. And then we have activity composition, משימות מורכבת, משימות שניתן לפרק לכמה משימות. Some kind of activity that you can divide up, and then you have an atomic activity which can't be divided up. And then you have milestones, which is that if we reach that point, if we've done that activity, then we've achieved something. And then we have deliverables, which is actual thing that we can give to a client. And here's a kind of diagram of work. I don't know what the diagram means. So here we have a project, and for some reason, I don't know why, the things that have children are in yellow, right? Project planning has development, design doesn't have children, planning has, I don't know, different thing, review requirements, update requirements, okay. And now we say, how long each one's gonna take. Oh no, first we just get the numbers. We ignore the ones that are the parents, because they're not the actual tasks. That's why they're in yellow. They're not actual things to do, because we can further decompose them into parts, right? These are all atomic. So in other words, he's just explaining in that video that we saw what are the things that we're evaluating, how long they take. Well, they're these green ones. That's all we're saying. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay. And then we give each one an effort evaluation and a duration evaluation. What is effort? Effort is human resources required to do it. And the duration is how long it'll take. I guess there's certain tasks that you want to have 4 people do. You don't want to have 1 person do it, even if it takes longer. Now, let's come up with some kind of this system. This task requires 3 people to work on it. Let's say, farming the field, you need 1 guy to run the tractor and 1 guy to throw the seeds in the ditch as he goes. So you need 2 guys to do that activity. And how long will it take is a different question. Again, this WBS has nothing to do with computer planning. It could be for any project, like a farming situation. There's also here he also talks about Siyud, which he doesn't put in this picture. But that was the graph that was the other second video that I was showing you. In other words, how much tractors you need, how many computers you need, what kind of Siyut Avodah. But anyway, we're ignoring that. So here, the whole project is going to take 56 efforts in man months. Durations. The duration, we don't know. We're going to figure out the duration. Okay? Because here, this says that the efforts is 2. Effort is 2 units. And 1 for here and 1 for here. And the duration is also 1. Here it's 6, so okay, wait, does this make sense? 6, it's a 1, it takes 1 person but it's only a half of a time unit. Hello? I can't talk right now because I'm teaching. Okay, bye. So this only takes a half. So this is like a half of one. It takes one person, but his duration is only 2 weeks, not a month. And this is also 2 weeks. So together this is 1 plus 4 is 5. Oh, no, why is this 2? Duration is 2. No, it takes 2 people, 6. So this should be 8. Does that make sense? If this is 2 people, 2 divided by 4 is a half. Doesn't make sense. A half plus 2 plus 2. A half divided by 1 is a half. No, a half divided by, so a half and a half. And a half is 1.5. Why is it 6? I don't know if this is.
Are you supposed to divide?
Maybe not, well, it says duration months.
I think that's just the.
It's just,
half.
yeah, it's not division, okay.
Mhm.
But still, I don't understand. This says say take 6. Oh, because. Why does it take 6? It should take 5. I get 2 people over here. Because these have to be one after the other?
Well, 2
I guess these have to be one after the other. They can't be in parallel.
I can't see it so well because it's board is blocked.
Oh, not lower. This is 2 divided by 4. I mean, 2, this is the effort is 4, the effort is 1 and 1. So that, I guess this is just the effort. So it's 6, fine. Okay, so the effort makes sense. It's 1 and 1, but the time is different because. Okay, fine. All right, anyway, that's this table. Now we can take those same things and here, like update requests. Here is update requests here. So he puts them all in this table. Now, how did he come up with this table? Why is plan tests? How do we get this table? Dev process. Like these are development plan, development process. Why are those in parallel? And then when they're finished, well, we can't, I guess anything, it must be that anything underneath the yellow, it can be done in parallel. So these two can be done in parallel. So they're in parallel. And then we do requirements, and we have analyze and specify requirements. Analyze and specify. And review requests. Why? That has to be afterwards. Why does this have to be afterwards? And update requests. Well, I guess just because of the nature. First you analyze, then you review it. You can't review it while you're analyzing it. And you can't update it while you're reviewing it, I guess. But here, but also here, develop development plan. Define development process. Maybe they're independent.
Well, does it say the start time and the finish time?
Here's the finish. We have to compute the start time and finish time. That's what we're going to do. I mean, we can see that this, according to this, I don't understand this. In other words, why is plan test after review requests? Do we see that here? Where's plan test after review requests? Why is that? It's not derivable, right? It's not derivable. I can't derive from this picture that this has to be after that.
Yeah.
And not after this.
Get it.
It's not derivable. Why isn't it after this? Why is test data after this? I guess if you're, but let's say like this, we don't know how it's derived. It's not derivable as far as I can see. but let's say we have such a picture. Then we can, now we can decide, well, what's the path? Well, this is equal, you know, obviously there's two ways to get to finish. Either,
What are the numbers, the effort?
actually, there's three ways. The numbers are the effort, yes, the effort in man months. So so we make this working plan, which is a DAG, which is a directed acycling graph, which means
Acyclic.
acyclic, which means it doesn't go back.
Acyclic, no?
What? Acyclically,
It should be acyclic, not acyclic. Oh, yeah.
acycling, acyclic.
Acyclic, like no
There's no
cycles.
C there, no, not cyclic. After the
Acyclic, like no cycles.
but after the I, there's no C.
There should be, I think. That's what a DAG is, unless DAG.
Oh, you know, yeah, you know it?
Yeah,
From where?
data structures. Or
Really?
a few classes that talk about DAGs.
Acyclic graph, okay. I'll fix that in English, I don't know, why, okay, what does it mean?
It's a graph that has no cycles and it's directed.
Oh,
So there's just stuff you could do with
Why
like,
do we-
algorithms. Like you could do scheduling algorithms and you could.
which course did you learn this in?
Well, I'm learning it now in algorithms and I also learned it in data structures.
Which, the first data structure, the second data structures?
I think second.
Okay. Okay, so it's a mistake there, anyway. So, let's just keep going, because he's just gonna explain what I just said here. Calculate earliest start and finish. So, he's gonna do the same thing we did in the video. Oh, wait a second. This is our picture, and then we say. The start. And finish is 0, start. Here it's 1, start at 0, start at 0. And he's gonna be, what is he gonna be? Start at 1, finish at
It takes 2, so 3.
3, man months. This number is man months, so it's also duration. Well, depends how many people we have there. If it's 100 man months, but I have 25 people, then it's only 4 months. So we're just taking that number. So it's that's what I'm saying, it really shouldn't be, it should be duration, not effort. Any case, so what is this gonna start?
1,
And when is it gonna finish?
3.
3, let's see if that's what I did. Yeah, 1, 3, great. Now, what about this one? It's gonna start at 3 and it's a hash, it's gonna finish at 3.5. And this one is gonna start at 3.5 and finish at 5. And this one's gonna start at 3.5 and finish at 4. 4 and 5. Okay. And this one's gonna start at 4 and finish at 8. And this one's gonna start at 4 and finish at 6. No, yeah, no, well, here's the question. When is this one going to finish?
7.
Exactly, because this one's 5, this one's 4, and this one's 5. He can't start until this one finishes. So it's gonna be 7. So there you go, there's a 7, and there's an 8, and he's 5 plus 6 is 11. So it's exactly like the video, right? And this is gonna finish at 16 because this one finished at 16. And this one is at 10, but we don't care. We can't finish the project at 10. We've got to wait for him. Okay. Ma hen amisimot akritio. What are the critical misimot? They're obviously the misimot that are on the critical path. And that's what he draws here in red. These are both on the critical path. Because they're either one of them, because they're equal. If this would have been 2 and this would have been 1, then this would be the critical path, then the bottom one would be the critical path. Right? Whichever one's longer is the critical path. But if they're equal and they're parallel, then they have to be both on the critical path. Okay. Determining slack time. So this is the same thing. We go 16. We're just checking to see if he's doing it right. 16. And this was why 14? Why 14?
-2.
Right, -2. Which means he can start as late as 14 and still get there. You see why we're going backwards? Because we know that for sure. We couldn't like look at this one and say, when can he start? You know, because but we can know this one. This one, we know that he has to finish at 16. And if he takes 2, he must have to start at 14. So his slack time will be what?
6.
Yeah, 6, right, Layla? Yeah. Okay. And then if he has to finish, let's see, like this. What does this mean? His start time has to be 14. His start time has to be 8. Why not? We don't look at the 14. Well, he doesn't even get to the 14. But here we look over here. His start time is 12, and that means his finish time has got to be 12. And if his finish time is going to be 12, and he takes 4, then his start time is going to be 8, and that is in fact his. You see, actually, you have to do the backward pass in order to determine the critical path. It's the path where the slack time is always 0. So we know that the slack time here is going to be always 0. What about over here? I mean, at this point, it's irrelevant. It's kind of weird the way he did it in the slides, where he first calculates, he tells you this is the critical path, and now he does the backward pass. The backward pass is to determine the critical path. Like we couldn't really have known it ahead of time. Why is it 12? If he had to finish here at 12. So this guy has to finish at 12, which means he has to start at 10, which he actually started at 5, so he has a slack time of 5. Okay, you got the idea, etc. And these are all going to be, notice they're all the same, 1, 3, 1, 3. Once you have the critical path, they'll all be identical, because there can't be any slack time. That's. Now we talk on a different thing. We're checking for constraints on resources. Well, that's kind of what the other one that I started showing you, the tractors. We have to come up with a person who is responsible for each task. Do we have 1 or 2? In other words, we have to decide manpower. How much manpower are we going to give it? We talked about duration. We talked about effort, really. If we now add in manpower, then that's going to change our graph, right? Our graph is based on effort. But if we throw a lot of people at it, then all of a sudden the time is no longer the effort. The effort is the time only when it's 1 person. Up to now, we were assuming 1 person. If we double the number of people for any of these things. So we have to do. We have to figure out which ones are important for finishing the task. Well, obviously, it's the critical path. And then we can recalculate with the start time and finish times. Okay. Now, this is a table of a different example. It's not the same example. What does he say here? T1 to, these are tasks. And here he's saying they start, why is this white and this gray? Doesn't explain. Right, we have to check, is the mashaba enoshi, is the human resource available? And how much time is there? We have to come up with new finishing times. We can't always get what we want, but it still doesn't explain this picture.
The gray is probably a slack time, like it definitely is lining up with other start times.
In other words, T1 finishes. So I guess the people that I use for T1 can go over to here and start T7. And this one, I don't know what he's trying to show. He doesn't show. Business plan.
Ask ChatGPT.
You can ask ChatGPT.
No, you can ask.
I can hear. I want to get a picture.
Send a picture to ChatGPT and ask. I'll ask.
You ask. I'm gonna, what, I'm gonna ask a human being who's probably busy. That's the problem.
It's a good part about ChatGPT.
Well, these are the dates that we're finishing. November, what is no?
ChatGPT says it tracks progress, but I don't know what that means. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's progress, but what is the gray and what is the white?
Like the gray, the whole bar is the full duration, but the white is the progress. That's what it said. I could be wrong. But that makes sense.
Oh, okay. But that's not what it. Okay, in other words, we're here and we have to get to here. We're at this point, okay. But then why are we at different places? Doesn't make sense. Because what date are we? That would make sense if it was all white up until, like, this is August 8th, right? But August 8th, this one has done some progress, and this one, what, hasn't?
Does the diamonds represent significant milestones that
Okay, good milestone, that's what
like,
MI, okay.
something, and some tests have overlaps or gaps in decaying dependencies. One task cannot start until another is complete. So
Right, in other words, T7,
once T1 is finished, then T7 can start, and it's fine if it's at the same time as T4 and T2.
okay, that makes sense.
And then once like T2 finishes, finish there, like M3.
When did T2 finish?
M3 can start.
Did T2 finish at July 25th? Or July 27th?
If it's progress, then it finished like a milestone at the 25th, but then it still has stuff to do.
No, the milestone is here,
Well,
where the diamond is.
it finished, like that's what progress.
These M's are milestones, here's a milestone. When I finally get to begin this task, which hasn't even, no, this doesn't even have a name, this task. Look, this is, T8 is this one, T6 is this one, what is M, what are these milestones?
Like M3.
What is M3?
Oh, it's M3.
And why does it take a certain amount of time? Milestone should be a marker, not a timeline, shouldn't take any time. telling you that, I'm sure the other teachers just spend 1 second on this diagram. And they say, okay, here you see how you can see all the different tasks and how they're progressing. And then they go to the next slide. Without, because he's not gonna be able to answer my question, I bet, but he teaches the course for years. In other words, I never taught this before. Okay, work plan. So we don't really, did you get an answer, Eliana? Why M3 and M2 take time at all? Why do they take time? They're a milestone. Milestone is like, okay, you reached this milestone, you don't sit at the milestone.
I don't know, maybe they're not milestones.
But they're not tasks, they don't have a number,
They
they
are
don't have a T.
milestones.
Here's a milestone that looks more sense, M4 looks more sense.
Yeah, I don't know why they take time, I think it's like,
Or what is this? What is this gray line?
I don't know, but it starts after T2's white bar finishes
T2, right?
for some reason, so maybe it had to start once T2 did that and then. Once.
Maybe it needed
T6
T4, maybe it needed T4. And it's all the time, we had the resources ready, but we couldn't start this process because it was waiting for T4. I don't know, maybe the gray is where there's a problem. I mean, where something is taking, maybe the full time of T4 is to here. But at this period, he doesn't have the resources that he needs, because they're being used by T7. Something like that, I don't know, then we should have started earlier. I'm not sure, okay, I don't know what this is showing. So here's English. Inputs, we put in the WBS, a network, the resource constraints, which is this thing. Which doesn't seem to explain this anything. Anyway, and we allocate absolute dates. Now we can allocate personnel. Figure out how many people we need for each task, allocate other needed resources, and then we get for each lowest level activity, its start date, completion date, and resource allocation. In other words, in the end, it wasn't enough to just know the time. I mean, in order to know the time, really, from the effort, you have to know also the resources. Oh, here's something that makes a little more sense. Task, this shows us that Fred does this task, and then he goes on to this task, and then he goes to this task. And Jane does this task, and then this task. Very nice. Why is there a gap? See, Jim just starts over here, because we didn't need him, I guess. We couldn't start anything until this moment. In other words, these three had to be done first. And only then could other things be done. So Jim and Mary were able to do other things. We're not on this project. Now all of a sudden we have 4 things that can be working at the same time. So we bring in Jim.
T7 probably needs to start after T1.
Exactly. T7 has to start, and so does T3. So we could have given, theoretically, we could have given Jane to do T7 and Jim to do T3. But why didn't we? Maybe because Dafka Jane knows how to do T5, T9, and we want to give her a shorter task before she can do T9, because right, this is a shorter task. Now, why is there a gap here?
T7 needs to be done.
Because exactly, T7 needs to be done before T. So really, it would have been nice if we could have. Why didn't we start T7 earlier? Because we couldn't, because it needed T1 to finish. Now, this is working backwards, right? This is what we see. We should have really had an example with all the people. That's the other video that I'm showing you. The other video that I'm showing you, I wanted to show you with the tractors, actually shows how to create this chart, assuming that we know what's the order of the things that has to be done. We know plowing has to be done before planting, and then we know the order, but we don't know how, and we know how much effort it is, and we need to know how many people we have. And how to act. So this is what I'm saying is an unsolvable problem, because we see that we've sort of solved it in a good way, but we could have done it differently. We could have by mistake given Jim to work on T3 and Jane to work on T7, and then that would have meant that T9 would have taken longer to finish. But of course, it didn't matter because the project anyways isn't going to finish till here. But why? But this is a critical. This is the critical path here. This is the longest path. What about this gap? Why is there a gap here?
T9.
Because we had to wait for T9, exactly. But we apparently didn't have to wait for
You didn't
T10.
even say it though, just see it in the
Yeah,
picture. but-
exactly, that's what the picture is
Like,
saying.
there's also no line that shows it's the exact same place, so it's kind of a bad diagram.
Exactly. This should be the result, this picture should really be shown to you after you're given information. And then you're supposed to compute this,
Yeah.
right? But we can compute what information there must have been
Yeah.
in order to get here, but. That would be an unsolvable problem, I'm saying, if I would be giving you, these are the tasks. You know, these are my tasks, and this one, and this one has to be done before that one before this one, and giving you all the information, and these are my workers. Go for it, figure out who does what. And here you notice that there's certainly idle time. Use automated tools to drive a timeline chart, so. Here you can have automated tools, certain things can happen in parallel. Here's up here, certain things can't, okay, doesn't really tell you anything. Here we're back to our picture, we give them days, we derive a chart like this, which shows not just what, but who is doing them. And then, I don't know why this goes, this seems to be pretty much the same thing. Is that the, wait, is this the same? These are not even the same ones, right? T4 and T8, is that the same as T4 and T8 here? Here's T4. Is there a T8? T8. Ah, T4 and T8. What about T11? Why is T11? Is T11 here? Here's T11. Where's T8? T8 finished? Here. And then T11 can start. Yeah, so it is the same. Right?
Mhm.
Except what about T12? For this, it looks like T12 is the last to finish. But here, oh yeah, T12 is the last to finish. T12 starts after T11. Wait, that doesn't make sense. Just wait a second. Here it says that T12 starts after T11 finishes, right?
Mhm.
But here it says that they're in parallel. Right? What does that mean? Or it just means it doesn't mean anything. It says they're in parallel. I don't know if these are connected. Anyway. I think we should watch that other video. I think that's really worth tracking. And this is, this is the tracking that you saw here. You can see that a certain task is new, then you can slide it over to here, it becomes active, slide it over here, it's in testing stage. We're seeing there's bugs, resolved all the bugs, and now somebody makes sure that all the bugs are really resolved and we put it into close. What does it say? לעתים צריכים לתכנן מחדש את המשימות והזמנים. Sometimes you need to reevaluate your tasks and the time they'll take. It could be some kind of why, because I don't know if you decided to reduce the size of the scope, I don't know what he means by scope, but the nature of the project will be made smaller. What you're trying to accomplish in the project will be less. Or people have gone off, that people are not available, or other resources not available. Or you have less money. And then you have to reevaluate, you have to recalculate your network. That's called a network, with the chart that shows you all the different paths. Create reports to communicate a project. Here's a YouTube video that he put up, and this is the end. Shaylot. Oh, he left us here. He didn't take it away. All right, how much are we doing for us time? What is here, look what he does here. Is there any difference between these two pictures? What's the difference between these two pictures? Nothing, just the word Sheila and Shiva changes. Right, and absolutely no difference. So we have a Sheila and Shiva is not known. So let's figure out, I don't know, I asked him about this, what's going on here? And he wrote to me, he said, oh, I'll delete that, I'll just take away that slide.
Oh.
But then what, then we don't have a tshuva? I'm kind of trying to understand, because he writes here that it says. Hey, where do we have problems? Why is the problem? This is not a problem, this is a question. Problem would mean like, it's unsolvable problem. I don't think, is this unsolvable? If we have these two things. What is D, duration?
Yeah. It's
Right, the
fine.
duration, it's this minus this.
And so-
So when does this guy start? It could we say it starts at 5, or you could say it starts at 4, but we already know the answer to that, it starts at 5. Because it can't, if it needs, wait a second. What does this mean, actually? No, actually, wait a second, I take it back.
It has to start after those end.
It can't start before both of them, it needs both of them,
I think so.
that's what it means, that's what the arrows means.
Yeah.
Exactly, so it has to start at 5, and if it's 2, so it's 7, so that's it, it's 5 and 7. So, oh, here he says, so why did he say 4 and 6? Because it would be here. So this is just stupid, this is just a question, I guess he just meant to say, Eifo ye sheilot b'shvil nitkonen, where like, where do we have some questions to learn, to remind, check how I know what we're talking about. Another question, all right, well, I mean, it's the same question, right? It's obviously gonna start at 12, because it's the last one, and it's gonna finish at 16. Right? But that's even one of the answers. Because he writes the wrong thing. If it says here, if it's code, then we'll start at 4. Why would we start at 4? He doesn't finish.
Oh, it's going the opposite way.
What?
Oh, is it?
Oh, it's going the other way?
Yeah,
What?
yeah.
Oh,
Because if it's.
Oh, is it the other
duration
one?
is 4, it needs to start at 4 to get to 8 being the start time of the next one.
Say it again.
So, yeah, we're saying we're starting with execute tests.
Starting with execute tests.
Yeah. And so
then
it
what?
starts at 4 and the duration is 4, so then code starts at 8.
Oh, it's left to right, you're saying?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was the
Or
backward
right to
pass.
left.
It's not the backward pass.
Oh, right. Oh,
It's not the backward pass.
No.
You're just saying you drew it backwards.
It's back.
maybe, but
Why do
also,
we write to left?
I don't know, maybe he is doing.
But then this is 12. Why is this?
Well. Then.
He's already got it. No, it can't be right.
Oh, right.
Oh, what must this have been? In order for him to be A, no, then it would have been 4. It would have been 4 and 8, and then it got to 8. But then why is this starting earlier?
So it must
No.
have been.
Can't be backwards.
Yeah, I don't get it, why, yeah. But also the duration is just wrong according to. Like what?
Yeah, right, the duration is not, if it's so that slide is just total
Yeah.
garbage.
Sorry.
Okay, good, we figured that
It
out.
was the same.
Yeah, the tshuva is the same. I didn't write these, like I said, it's fun to make fun of other people.
The problem is the slides itself.
What?
It says.
You see, that's why I said, that's why I didn't upload it. I told you at the beginning, I didn't finish because I got these slides and I'm like, well, I can't translate this because it doesn't make any sense. What?
It said like, what are the problems, with the slides?
Oh, the slides themselves, oh, okay, yeah. Late slack time, oh, now we're doing slack time. So. Wow, we can't figure out anything here, what can we figure out here? This is taking 4. So this has to start. We don't know when we don't know anything, this doesn't mean anything, you can't figure out slack time if you don't know when it actually was supposed to have started, and then it's supposed to be the difference between when it could have started, but we're not given anything here.
Yeah.
This is all just garbage. I don't know why, I mean, unless I'm misunderstanding something. Oh, wait, he's gonna do it? He's gonna do something, all right? Wait, does he have any more? Yeah, okay, we're almost done, so let's see. So I said this is garbage, now, usually I'm wrong when I say it's garbage, so let's see if I'm wrong. Shlav mispar, first step. The beginning of code is 8. So therefore, that must be the end of design. Okay, so he's assuming that this is going to this, so it must be that it finishes at 8. Okay, that's pretty obvious. And therefore its start is 4. Okay, that's what he's gonna say. That's obvious, fine. I thought he was trying to figure out the slack time,
Yeah.
but this says, it says late start and slack times, how can I figure out slack times? So fine, obviously that's true, so it's 4 and 8 and 12, what?
It's just so funny how elaborate, like how much he's really explaining how 8 minus 4 is 4, like.
Yeah,
You just
yeah,
have to explain that part.
yeah, he has to explain, that part he explains, but the other slide that was so complicated that we couldn't possibly understand, that he didn't feel the need to explain, because the answer is because he could explain this one, but the other one he couldn't explain.
Like, he makes good slides.
I don't know.
Like, I don't understand.
First of all, I try to improve them as much as I can, and you've only seen, this is the first time you've seen the Israeli one.
Alright, for them,
What?
for them.
Yeah, no, they're okay. This one is particularly bad, I told you, that's why I couldn't upload it, I couldn't figure out what he's trying to do here. And he wouldn't answer me, I wrote him an email, and I said, I have to teach in 2 days, I wrote him. a
Tell
couple
me about
days.
it, people don't answer.
They don't answer because they don't want to answer. Okay, so here we go, what is this? Lefi ma mechashrim et design. How can we, here's a question, maybe this is the question, how can we determine when design must have finished? Well, this is impossible to know, right? I think so, because this says, no, we can know. This says it starts at 8 and it finishes at 12, and this says it starts at 14. Well, it must have finished, why is this 14? It must be 8. If this guy can start at 8, then this guy must have finished at 8. Then I don't know why this guy didn't start also at 8. How can you have a situation like this? Why would he start at 14?
Maybe it had.
Oh, maybe there's another arrow coming from somewhere else. That's the only thing you can say, but it has to be according to code, and we'll have to say here is 4, 4. It says 4 here, so it's 4, 4, and that will be 8. So let's see if that's what he does. I hope that's what he does.
4, 8.
What?
Well, it finishes at 8, so it starts at 4.
What? Wait.
Hmm.
So he says, here, he's like this. If the Chishuv Yaseh the female user design, I guess that's that one. Oh, user. If the Chishuv Yaseh the user manual, if we do it according to user manual, then we'll say that he started at 10 and went to 14. And if we say that we do it according to this, then it'll be 4 and 8. Exactly, 4 and 8. Which would be, I meant 4 and 4 duration. Right, 4 and 8. So it could be, so which one? It's obviously the second one, because otherwise how would we be able to allowed to start this one if he finished only at 14? So he says the beginning time for user manual is 14, and the beginning time for code is 8. Well, we know that. Well, then we do go according to design. We didn't explain why, but it's because you can't, if he's gonna, he can't, it has to be like that. Okay, fine. That one at least makes some sense. That's it. Stop. I don't have stop recording.